Hey, good Friday, TGIF to all of you people. Now, I want to talk about something that, well, it is comic book related and it's based on a comic that I read a lot. But I'm not going to say the name of this comic. You can probably guess it yourself. But I recently just read the spoilers for said comic. You know, because some people already got the issue. And that's typical because some of these people might be living on the East Coast. So that makes sense. Excuse me. But anyway, let's talk about some of these spoilers. Those are some of the highlights that I read for these spoilers for said comic. Now, we've all read different kinds of comics. We've all read about how different characters or certain characters we wouldn't suspect of turning traitor would do it. We wouldn't suspect that until, like I said, the writer would do it. Even if we didn't like said character from the start. So what happens when you have said character that you probably don't like it, you know, in the first place, but doubt would ever be known as a traitor, turn out to be that traitor and align themselves with said villain or in the comic. Well, not the villain, but one of said villains. What would you do? What would your reaction be? You'd be kind of confused, right? Kind of PO'd? Kind of want to strangle that character and hate him even more? Maybe. But let's take a look at why certain things like this happen in stories. I mean, this is one of the major highlights. Another major highlight is the fact that there's a character in this book that's a singer. And this said character is trying to get a message across now with her music. Now, how does that make one feel about said character if said character has a fan base? But yet, said character wants to bring a message to an audience that said character knows would listen. How would you feel about that? How would you feel if said writer or if the head writer of this comic book decided to almost portray said singer and probably said love interest who helps the singer with the music and all, trying to turn them into, let's say, the peacemaking, war is over, staying in bed marathon deal couple. You may know who I'm talking about if you kind of got the hints there. But how would you feel if the head writer of a book was doing that to that main couple, or to said characters? You'd probably be wondering why. Well, what if head writer, from the first time he began, said he was trying to clean things up, trying to organize things and make things the way they should be? Would you ever suspect any of this happening? Not particularly. And what about the backups? We know that certain comic books have backups and everything. Backup stories that last for about maybe 2-3 pages. But let's say, sometimes, the backup stories, they don't always live up to par, or they're not always living up to the hype. But let's say there's a backup story you are looking forward to the most. And yet when you finally read that backup story, everything you ever thought would be is not. what I'm saying is, how would you feel if all that I've mentioned, if a character that you didn't like, that was sort of part of the hero base, turned traitor and aligned themselves with one of the main villains in the book? What would you say if one of your fan favorite characters, along with the love interest, were becoming the peace-loving, peace-making, be aware of this, war is bad couple of the book? And most of all, how would you feel if said backup story, which probably became one of your most hyped up backup stories and talked about backup stories, when finally read, did not live up to the hype? How would you feel overall about all of that? Along with anything else that gets tangled in. Huh? How would you feel? You feel pissed off, right? You feel like you've been cheated. But then there would be some of you that would say, well, maybe it's part of a bigger plan. Maybe maybe the head writer of the book has something more in place, something that we don't see coming. Perhaps the head writer does. Especially when you are 4 issues away from an anniversary issue. Or actually 5 issues away from an anniversary issue. And when you're 5 issues away from that, and the head writer of the book says, okay, we're going to start the countdown to the anniversary issue in the previous month's issue and continue it on with this month and the months after. How would you feel knowing that this is all part of something bigger? What if perhaps said story for anniversary issue, whose name, the name of this title, indicates a new beginning, if you will. What if said title would cause something to happen that we wouldn't see coming? And let's say, just like with a lot of other comic books, said story of anniversary issue tied in with the final issue to another story from a spin-off. What would your reaction be? What do you believe all this could mean? What do you think it all could mean? Could the anniversary issue mean a rebirth? Could it mean that said character with a certain power could reverse time and space itself and thus make things as it once was? Do you think that could happen? Do you think perhaps said writer is going to use this new beginning in the anniversary issue to make things as certain fans want them? Could that be all that takes? Could that be all why this is happening? Why said writer, said head writer, is doing things the way he is? Could that be it? Because when you think about it, you get all these elements in these first 2 issues and into next issue of said characters and the said characters and situations that I mentioned, that would make you really think. Like, why in the world, like I mentioned, a character that was disliked at the beginning, even though they were sort of like on the hero side, and now they possibly are the traitor, why in the world would you even do that in the first place? And then what's with the addition of adding certain things to the character that we've never seen before? What does it mean? What could it all add up to? I mean, does this new beginning in the anniversary issue of said comic book mean a rebirth, a restart of the franchise, or a restart of the book itself? I mean, what does it mean? What does it mean? I mean, everything that I mentioned is, that's happening right now in this said book, in this said comic. I'm pretty sure it's happened in many comics from Marvel and that have been produced by places like Archie and Marvel and DC. Some of the top tier titles from Marvel and DC have probably had this happen too. In fact, the comic book critic on ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, named Linkara, talked about one of the said issues of one of the top tier comics set at Marvel. And he said that the storyline that ended with this was stupid. It was dumb. And it really didn't make no sense. It's kind of like when you look at professional wrestling. On the PWR show yesterday, I watched it on YouTube, they talked about how WWE dropped the ball with the John Cena Nexus storyline and John Cena being fired. And instead of keeping John Cena off of television for maybe a month or so, they instead keep him coming. And he's supposed to be fired. Which really didn't make no sense. I mean, these hosts even agreed that putting John Cena under a mask and making him pretend he's the Puerto Rican or Mexican cousin of himself would have been a better thing, would have been a better idea than just having him appear on television, beat up the Nexus, and then just, finally be rehired. I mean, that's sort of what it's like when it comes to issues like this and the issue that Linkara talked about in one of his videos. It's sort of like that. It's like they dropped the ball, but yet you find out probably later down the line it's all about something bigger. So the question is, will the head writer of this book drop the ball, or will he raise the bar? You see, that's the thing. I mean, all this that many fans feel as though, and me, I'm impartial, I'm unbiased. I like the book either way. I like said book either way. I like reading it and subscribing to it either way. Doesn't matter. I do my reviews on it. I give my honest opinions and stuff. But the truth is everything people say about this story, whether they say it's an epic deal, or whether they say it's confusing, or whether they say the writer's dropping the ball, is this all part of something bigger? Will the anniversary issue that indicates new beginnings be dropped, or will it raise the bar? See, that is the question we have to ask ourselves. Is all this happening with these characters all about dropping the ball when it comes to that anniversary issue, or raising the bar? Is there something more to said hero turned traitor, the newest addition to that, and having them join up with one of the main villains? Is there something more? Could they be wanting to learn maybe a certain power to help another character? Could that be it? The question is, what impact also does said musical couple have? What kind of impact would they have on the book? Will they impact at all. And what about the other characters that might be affected? Like say a certain AI or a certain French Southern couple. How will they all be affected? What's going to happen? Is there more to the character that many thought would look different than what she looked like before, but instead look as she does, like she always has? Is there more to it? Is there more to the fact that the main villain for many generations, from 2 decades, if you will, is there something more to his demeanor and as to why he did what he did for said character that many thought would look different? These are all questions that this head writer must answer very soon. And if it's all part of the anniversary deal, then this head writer better start providing more answers. Because there are those that will say that what he's doing is epic, while others are saying he's dropping the ball. Do you seriously want him? Do you seriously want the head writer of this book to raise the bar or drop the ball? Do you want him to do what WWE did with Cena, with the Cena being fired angle, and drop it and just make a complete mockery out of it? Or do you want him to do what they should have done and raise the bar and make things different? You get what I'm saying? Do you want him to do what Knockouts of TNA, Mickie James and Tara did a week ago on Impact, when they raised the bar literally for the Knockouts division in that cage match? To the point that the one company that doesn't even consider them to be main competition has decided to add a tables match featuring the women. You get what I'm saying? Do you believe that this writer is going to raise the bar, or is he going to drop it? Because there's a lot of people that are wondering as I speak, what does this all have to do? Why is he doing certain things with characters that we never saw coming? Why would he take back in issue 172? I think 171 or whatever it is. 172 maybe. Why would he take someone like a female like a certain female character and turn her completely bad? Why would he do that? Is there something more? You see, the thing is, what does he have planned? Will he raise the bar or will he drop the ball? See, these are questions a lot of us want answered. And even people like me that are unbiased and enjoy the comic either way, these are answers whether you think the story's epic or not, whether you think he's raising the bar or not. We want answers. We want to know what the reasoning behind this all is. And it's not just with this said comic. Like I say, Marvel and DC have and currently are and probably will in the near future have stories, or currently have stories, or had stories, or will have stories that will be just like this. So the question is, will the bar be raised or will it be dropped? That's all I have to say about this. Tell me what you think, and I'll talk to you all later.